KKHT wants you to meet three of the classiest guys in real estate.
I am Chris Kelso, the maestro of mortgage.
I am Rob Cook, the godfather of real estate.
And I'm Joe Orsack, the king of credit swing. And together, we're
the Real Estate Rat Pack.
Much like us, real estate right now is smoking hot. So whether it's buying, selling, or owning, you need to check out the Real Estate Rat Pack.
They're here to take your calls and answer your questions live. Call now 1-800-808-5548. And now, the Real Estate Rat Pack.
Now, Rob, come on.
Every Saturday.
Every Saturday. I tell you, we have perfected
We're
it.
available in stereo.
Yes, we have. Or you have it.
I did that one in Spanish.
That was in Spanish. That was your Spanish one. I know. We've been practicing French and Spanish and English,
different languages.
a variety of them.
Flexing our
Yes.
international, flair.
Yeah, well, we know we do have an international audience, so we got to be,
Yes.
aware of that.
We got a great show today.
We actually
do.
have an
You know,
incredible show today.
I actually went out and found guests at an event this week. I said, I'm out there trolling for guests.
That is Rob, by the
this
way.
is a
He is
show-
out trolling events.
This is a show that I'm already planned and prepared for the conversation when I go home, because all
Yes.
the guests are going to be all things that my wife wants.
That is correct.
So
That is correct. And
Along with the
the
new
main
house.
thing,
along with a new house, we
and
have
the
a
main
realtor
thing
to
in
cover
common,
all aspects of that.
exactly, about preparing your home and maximizing its value to get it sold and get you into a new one.
Yes.
Well, let's start. We are big on charities.
We are absolutely big on
And
charities.
so Peggy Koner, who I've known, I don't even want to admit how long we've known each other, Peggy, but she's here to talk about the Nancy Owens Foundation, which is a thing that's near and dear to our heart. And so if you would go ahead and talk about events coming up and your involvement with Nancy Owens. Welcome. That's Peggy over there.
Hi, thanks for having us. We started the Nancy Owens Memorial Foundation about 13 years ago, and it was a group of realtors who got together after our good friend Nancy Owens died of breast cancer. She died September 7th, 2001. None of us knew what the impact of her funeral was going to be when it was scheduled for September 11th. So on the afternoon of September 11th, about probably, 600 or 800 people gathered at St. Martin's Church for her funeral. And I guess that day kind of solidified our feelings for Nancy and what had gone on in the United States that day. We decided to start a charity, and actually Amy Bernstein gathered a group of us together, just a few people from different offices, and we sort of didn't know what we were doing at the time, and we decided to have a luncheon to honor Nancy and to raise money for breast cancer research.
And from there, it has really gotten big.
I attend that luncheon every year, and I think last year, how many people were there last year at the luncheon?
I think we had almost 900 people. We're almost
a crowd.
Yeah, we're almost sold out. And we had Martina Navratilova speak last year, which everybody enjoyed. And
She did a great job.
yeah, she did.
Great job.
And this year, we're really excited. We have just signed on Bill and Juliana Rancic. Juliana was a cancer survivor, and Bill was one of the first people, or is a cancer survivor, I should say.
Yeah.
He was on The Apprentice. He was, I think, the first apprentice, and went to work for Trump. And now they have a reality show, and Juliana's on E! Network a lot, and she was a host at the Oscars. And so
Awesome. Well, our owner of Berkshire Hathaway, Anderson Properties, is a big supporter of Nancy Owens. He's a diamond sponsor. He gives $15,000 every year, so it's very near to our company as well. So, talk about the events that are coming for.
So our big luncheon is October 6th, Monday, October 6th, and that's where we're going to have Juliana and Bill Rancic. This week on Wednesday, there's a fundraiser. I think
She's looking for guidance from you. She's
I
over there
think
looking
Joe's
at you.
involved in that.
Yes, each month we have a networking event called RPM, or Real Estate Professionals Mixer, and it's for the real estate community at large, for all realtors, builders, mortgage folks, title, insurance, everybody that's connected to real estate. It's a really fun event, but both Chris and Chris gave me the idea. Each month he sponsors a charity, and I thought that was a great idea. So each RPM event is by donation. People RSVP, and any amount that they want, they will purchase a donation ticket to attend, and 100% of the proceeds from that event go to the charity. And this month, it's the Nancy Owens Foundation. And kind of breaking from the tradition for me, you guys are having the event in October, and I'm going to have y'all as my charity again in September so that we're able to promote the luncheon. So.
Oh, we like to hear that.
Yeah, and we want to get you back on just before that event as well. And now, do you open that up to the public?
Yes. In fact, it started out as a real estate driven market, but now we have people that are not necessarily real estate involved on the committee. And of course, the growth comes from putting it out to the larger community. And that's been happening. I think our first year, maybe we had 400 or 500. We had to move the event because we outgrew that space. And this year, we're hoping to sell out the Westin Ballroom. So.
Yeah. And over the years, I know you're very proud of this number. How much have you all raised?
So far, we've donated about $1.3 million. We split it between 3 charities. Well, it's been various charities, but one charity that we've been with a long time is the Lester and Sue Smith Breast Cancer Charity affiliated with Baylor College of Medicine. We also give some, recently we've started giving money to MD Anderson, and then also a group at Methodist Hospital that does research.
So if somebody wanted to donate or get in touch with you, how would they do that, Peggy?
The easiest way is nancyowens.org, not .com. But nancyowens.org, it's our website. They can make donations. They can see about all of our events. We just had a very successful golf tournament. I think some of y'all were there.
I was there. It was a great golf
I
tournament.
always say, if they can get those golf carts to go 100 miles an hour, I'm in.
You know what? I think the people who were riding with me thought I was driving at 100 miles per hour, by the way.
I heard you were looking for the beverage cart.
I gave up alcohol for Lent, so I'm about to break training, though. What would you like people to take away from your announcement today?
That we're dedicated to finding a cure for breast cancer. We believe any little bit helps. If you can give us, $10 or $50 or the more or any more, that's great. But we are dedicated to help finding a cure.
Give us that website one more time.
www.nancyowens.org.
Well, Peggy, thank you so much for being with us here today. And I know you're going to do an amazing, it's always bigger every year.
Yes, and thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely.
And it is a tremendous organization. I've been involved with the Nancy Owens as far as a donation and with Amy Bernstein and all the team over there. It's incredible. This past week we had obviously the golf tournament. It was a tremendous success. A lot of fun out there. More importantly, I tell everybody no matter what you're doing out there, get involved. Get involved with the charity. Get involved with something that moves you. Cancer, and unfortunately breast cancer specifically, is impacting more people than we can possibly imagine. It's growing year over year. We need to find a cure for it. We need to find an answer how to prevent that right there.
They've made great strides, but we're not there yet.
Yep, that is correct.
Not there yet. We got a great show today.
We have an awesome show
What are we going to talk about, Chris?
We're talking about, a lot of times what happens is you have a lot of individuals out there who wonder, what was that? Who wonder, they sit there and they put their home on the market and then they wonder, what can I do to effectively either sell it for more, or why is it still in the market, or how can I prepare it for sale, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, I'm going to play devil's advocate here because I can.
Yes.
Homes are going on the market. They're getting 6 and 7 contracts. Why would we worry about how they're
You want to know
positioned?
why? Because not every home gets 6 or 7 contracts. No. And remember, there's still some very key pieces, and that's why we have the experts here.
Yeah.
There's still some very key pieces in pricing and putting your home on the market and selling it the right way. Putting a sign in the yard is not the solution all the time.
No, and of course I know that. I was just kind of like
No,
I
you
say,
didn't,
playing
Rob.
devil's
No, you didn't.
devil's
No.
advocate because what
You
what
really
we-
wanted to know. Come on.
No, but what we know is that they're selling their homes quickly, but are they selling it for the highest amount?
That is correct.
And that's what we're going to talk about today. So who's going to be up first?
We've got one. We have a plethora of great guests, so we can start whoever's closest to the mic. I
Okay.
imagine.
Well, Lois de Armas is with Remax Fine Properties in Sugar Land. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
And I understand this is one of your favorite subjects.
It is.
So I'm coming to you, and I'm going to list my house, and I say, I just want to buy her, and I want to buy her quickly. And so, advise me is what I need to do.
Well, the first thing I tell people is you have 2 chances to make a first impression. The first impression is on the internet because at least 95% of buyers find their home on the internet. So the pictures and the way, you want them to emotionally connect with the pictures and with the entire listing. So I think just from the moment that you get in there, get staging it, which is what I'm sure we'll be talking about today, you want them to look at those pictures, and before they even get to the house, they want it. You've got to create a sense of urgency.
Yeah, exactly. It creates a first impression. And I always am amazed. I go see those $1 million listings over in River Oaks, and someone's taking it with their iPhone.
Oh, yeah, I always say put the toilet seat down at least,
So
You mean an iPhone's not a good way to take a professional picture? If
can
you look
be a
at
good
Yahoo,
way
there's so much
It's a great
stuff
way to
going
do a
on.
selfie, because you've become the king of the selfie lately.
That is correct. That is correct.
But
I'll do one here in a minute, actually, and post it on Facebook.
It is not a great way to take pictures of a home, but I see it all the time, and I presume that you have yours professionally taken.
Absolutely. I have not, and we also do a video tour because, internet is international. So it's not uncommon for someone in another country to call and say, hey, I want to put an offer in on this house. I can't get there, but they've experienced it.
Okay, and in your experience, when someone has listened to you, because not all clients listen to you, do you find that you can optimize the price that they get if they do the painting, the carpet, or whatever it is they need to position their home in the market?
Yeah, everything is about strategy, and different communities would have a different strategy. But right now, with our market being so hot, I've found it's better to actually price it at the medium range and stir up a bidding war. So, for example, one that I listed last night, I just was looking at my phone. I've already got 2 showing appointments.
You can do a shameless plug.
And
it's okay.
But that's,
Absolutely.
well, that's the point, is that you price it at a good point because we only have 2 months of inventory on the market right now. So if it's priced right, you're going to get so many buyers that are going to there's an urgency. And then I let my sellers know, look, if they're bidding against each other, let them raise the price, and then we've got the leverage. So it's really getting them to connect and wanting them to have that sense of urgency.
I like that idea because a lot of times I'm hearing out there some people want to try to take advantage of, well, it's a hot market, let me overprice it, and then what ends up happening, it becomes a stale listing, right?
Exactly.
Because buyers are still smart. Are you still seeing that?
Well, not only, they've got all this information. Everywhere you go, everyone's becoming an expert.
Right.
So, you've got to try to explain to them, look, I realize that you love your home, but let's work on getting even more than it's worth and let the buyer bump it up. So if you overprice it, you definitely, they're not going to pay, more than they should, especially when you're dealing with an appraiser that's got to come in and he hasn't caught up with the market value. He's got to go back 6 months.
And that's a whole nother show.
I know. I'll stop. That's
a whole
other show. But we often talk about, people can get the information. They can't get the experience. And that's why hire experts like Lois to come out, because disseminating the information is so valuable in what you do in providing the service to make sure they get the highest price.
Right. Well, you were talking about getting it ready for sale. What I tell them is, when I look at your house, it's got to be in 2D. So I'm looking at it in like a picture. I tell them, get your cell phone, step back, take a picture of the room, and then close your eye and hurry up and look at the picture. And where does your eye go? We're not trying to sell the stuff in your house. We're trying to sell the house. So it does mean simplify, get the rugs off the floor if you've got beautiful wood floors. There's a whole lot of that, but I'm sure we'll go into that some more in just a minute.
Right, the accentuating of the positive factors associated with the property. You talk about the and I hear this all the time, right? Price being number 1, decluttering being number 2, location being number 3. With all that being said, though, it's still important, as you mentioned, and Rob said this as well, to hire a professional like yourself to get the maximum value. And you're the first person actually I've heard in a long time to say, let the buyers bid it up. Let that become the market.
Yeah, the thing is,
we don't see that very often.
We don't make the market. We just report it.
That is correct.
And there's a big difference. The people out there who are buying and selling, they establish market. Willing seller, willing buyer.
Right.
One thing, you went down a list of great points, and we're up against a break here already.
Again?
But for when it's your home and you've lived there for a long time and all that sort of thing, it's like, no one likes their baby to be called ugly.
Right.
But I would encourage the listening audience, when you hire a professional, which we always encourage on this show, take objective advice on do the following. That's why you hire a professional. Let them direct you in the pain points to address and positioning your home to sell.
They're paying
the
us
most.
well. Please listen.
I would absolutely agree. We are coming up against a break right now. Lois, let us know how we can reach you, by the way. If someone's listening right now and they urgently want to get a hold of you right after the show.
Go to www.remaxperformanceteam.com.
www.remaxperformanceteam.com. We are up against a break, but we're going to be right back.
I won't dance Don't ask me, I won't dance. Don't ask me, I won't dance, Madame, with you. My heart won't let my feet do things that they should do. You know what? You're lovely.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Radio Show with Chris, Joe, and Rob. The crew is taking your calls, so dial in at 1-800-808-5548.
And welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Radio Show.
We just had a selfie party going on.
We had a
over there.
selfie. You know, someone mentioned selfies, and there we go. We all took one.
It's so funny. It's like, do we have to come back? We're having a good time here. On the
Great
break.
segment. We're done.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Go out to
Can't get any
Facebook.com,
better.
though, as we tell everybody. Go look at our website on Facebook.com. Go look at any one of them, from the Real Estate Rat Pack Radio Show Facebook website to Joe, Chris, or Rob, or to any of our guests. You can see all the great times that we're having here.
And speaking of guests,
Yes.
we have another one of our great sponsors is here today is Miracle Frame. It's Jon Long. Welcome back.
Well, it's good to be back.
You're a
Having
two-timer.
fun. Yes, two-timer.
You're a
Two-time
two-timer.
repeat offender.
It's a rarefied air.
It
a
is. That's
two-timer.
right.
So anyway, kind of tell what you do, and kind of fits in with what we're talking about here. Of course, is maximizing price, and you've got a great product that can help do that inexpensively.
Right. We, for those of our listeners who don't know about our company, we basically frame mirrors in place without tearing them out. Just really dressing up the look of a otherwise plain mirror or a corroding mirror. And when we're talking about fixing up homes, realtors refer us all the time especially when mirrors start getting black around the edges, they have that water damage or rust appearance. Our frames go right over the top of it. When we're done with it, it looks like a brand new mirror. You can't tell the difference. And for minimal dollars and no tear out and no dust and no headache, essentially is the what they love about the product. So
I noticed in those older mirrors because when they cut or they actually don't cut mirror, you score it and break it,
right.
And so therefore it kind of has this wicking process that goes up in the silver,
right.
And then of course it starts turning black. And people who are living in the house have been there probably 20 years. They probably noticed that all along the bottom, it's all black. So
and the people always come to us and they ask if we can cut it off. And well, we could if you want to, and if you want to spend the extra time and money and frustration. But the great part about our product is it completely covers it.
Right. The other thing is taking that mirror off. A lot of times it's put up with mastic. So you're talking about mastic that's been on the wall for about 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
And
it
you're going to
doesn't
be
come down
repairing.
without a fight.
You're going to be repairing sheetrock. After
Exactly.
that.
Well, curiously enough, the other day I was walking through a house with a friend of mine who we were doing the financing for, and she goes, one of the things I want to do, it was an old condominium in the Galleria, and she says, I want to do something different here. And the first thing that popped in my mind when she looked at her bathroom and she saw the typical older mirrors, I said, you need to call Miracle Frame.
There you
I
go.
I said, here's the deal. They were on the show. They're a great sponsor, but guess what they do? And so she'll be contacting you.
Right.
And it's one of those things is you don't realize what it can become until you've seen what it has become based on not only what you do, but also your website. Your website goes over a lot of those differences, the before and afters.
Right.
And you've got a lot of things you can choose from. I mean,
Right.
a lot of different styles, colors, and it really refreshes up the property.
And it's the hard part about the radio show because we're sitting here talking about it and people have a hard time picturing it until they see the before and after.
You'll notice I've got in my hand here a great-looking frame. Everybody, no.
Yeah, exactly. It just doesn't. It's hard to explain, without seeing it.
Well, I will tell you.
What's your website, John?
MiracleFrames.com, and that is spelled the word mirror, CLE frames.com.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say is that, and Lois, you can back me up on this, is that when people go through and they see something about a house, they start mentally deducting. And so if they see something like mirrors need to be replaced or anything that may be in the car, but they're deducting it a lot higher amount than it actually costs. Would you agree with that statement?
Absolutely.
And so, again, when you're talking about maximizing your price, why make that desilvering mirror an issue?
Yes,
Let's
yes.
remove that from the equation because it's a real simple process and way to do it.
And when people see the finished product, they don't know that it's not, mirrors that are cost tens of thousands of dollars. That's the appearance, but we're talking hundreds of dollars versus thousands. So
if I have a 4x6 mirror sitting in a bathroom and you're going to come in and do it, what do you think that would run?
We could installed, you're looking at starting $300 to $350, maybe $400 after tax, installation, trips, everything else. But for what you would pay, go to Michael's and have a custom frame built. Did I just say the name of a company?
Yeah, it's okay. We're going to send them an
We
invoice.
invoice them.
Okay. So, what you would pay for a frame is what a lot of times we're going to come out, meet with you, help you pick a frame, and install it for. So.
Well, and one of the things also, we talk about this all the time when it comes to improving your property, is as home prices continue to grow, they continue to move up in this market. One of the things we're going to start seeing, very similar to what we saw in other areas, is people start questioning, where is the value associated with this? And so a lot of times you can do a very little change. It's a very small cost relative to the cost you can get on the enhancement of your property and those values that we're seeing. And Lois, you can probably talk to this. I mean, that's one of the things that people are starting to see is as home prices are creeping up, what people are looking for is and it's happened to me, it's happened to a lot of people, is, but where's the value associated with this? What are the true upgrades? And this can be considered one of those.
Oh, it definitely is, because when they look at it, they're thinking, I've got to hire someone to do this. And then, they're thinking about all the other things added to that. So, and it also adds a great finish look, too. It adds a more custom look.
It's not finished till it's framed.
That almost sounds like a tagline, John. You should roll with that.
One of my favorite, testimonials, if you will, when shortly after we started the company, we had done some work for a pretty large production builder here in Houston, and we did one street, several spec homes on this street. And the builder came up to me a few weeks later, and he said, "John, you sold a house for me." Now, this is in a different market, but still, this was, I guess, about 6 years ago. He said, "John, you sold a house for me." And I said, "What do you mean?" And he said, we had a customer who was looking at one of our homes versus a competitor, and he couldn't make up his mind, similar features, similar price per square foot, but all the mirrors in our house were framed, and they weren't framed in the other. And he said the only thing that the one distinguishing difference that kind of was the thing that drew him over the line to make him sign that contract were the mirrors being framed. Now, so the point is, if you frame your mirrors, you'll sell your home. It's that simple.
I've said this multiple times. No one ever buys a whole house; they buy a part of the house.
Right.
And there's something always that's going to be that thing that they get a visceral response to, and they say, "I
never
gotta
know.
have that house."
You never know.
And it's usually because of something that simple.
And just a note, by the way, financing is for the full home, though.
Yes. But, the thing, framing is not going to add to the intrinsic value of the home, but it's going to make it more sellable.
That is correct.
I mean, and that's it's just like any kind of decluttering or anything like that is to freshen up the home, like a fresh coat of paint, new carpet, those types of things that you add on. It's not necessarily going to add to the value, but if you're going to be in competition with a house down the street, they're going to pay more for your house because it has those things done. Because people are linear thinkers. They see what they see, and if they see something they don't like, they move on.
Right.
And every once in a while you get a creative person that can visualize it, but for the most part, they don't. They see, if they see dirty, bad carpet, they see bad frames, they start thinking big dollars.
frames.
Well, it's also a deduction, yeah.
My wife is one of those people that can look at a room and see all the possibilities and all that sort of thing. I have to have, if I was going to do mirrors, I would have to have every frame that John has so that I can sit there and hold them all up one at a time and go through and say, that's the one I like.
That would be John's job, actually.
Yeah. But that's how, my male brain works. I've got to see the objects that I have to choose from so that I can picture them in the room. That very few people, like you said, have that ability to picture a room and just see the room without anything in it. We have a guest that can do that really well.
Right.
Yes.
But your wife can visualize a new home, can't she?
Yes.
She can
And
visualize
everything
a new home.
associated with that new
All
home.
she needs for that is a blueprint. She can see the whole thing. Yes.
And I see a new home in their future.
She has quite a few blueprints. I know.
John, it's an architectural material. Tell me what it is. It's not wood.
No, it's not wood. We don't use wood or MDF. Our product is a polyresin material. It's very durable in your high moisture environments like your bathroom. You're talking about a frame that's going to be literally right behind running water, steam, heat, humidity, all these things you're going to find in your bathroom, obviously. So we have a very durable product that's going to stand up.
Well, let me ask you, if you have one, can you get one that's blank that a designer could come along and add faux paints to or anything of that nature?
No, all of our frames are pre-finished.
Okay.
And you want them to be that way because
a special process for it.
There is a special process, and for all the things that designers do well, I'm sure they're not wanting to try to make a frame look as pretty as we make it. So,
wow.
There's also some critical components here. One of the first questions. We've talked about this before. People are like, well, why can't I just go down to Michael's or Hobby Lobby and pick up a frame myself and put it in?
Right.
Tell us a little bit about the differences between, that kind of option versus what you guys do.
Well, Rob mentioned the mirrors being glued to the wall. That's the first thing. So your mirrors are glued to the wall, and if you were going to traditionally frame them, traditional frames have what's called a rabbit in the back, which is basically a groove that's your piece of art, or in this case, a rabbit. Not
Don't go
E.T.
there, Rich.
yeah, rabbit trails about Joe wants to go down, but so that keeps you from. You just totally derailed my train of thought. I'm sorry. Basically, it keeps you from being able to frame a mirror without tearing it out, cutting the mirror down, putting it back on the wall. So our frames are flat on the back. It's an exclusive product that we had designed and manufactured for our purposes. And so our frames install flush on top of the mirror without removing it, without cutting the mirror.
So if you pick up that Michael's frame or that Hobby Lobby frame, then you've got like that finger width gap in there.
Right.
The rabbit in the back.
The rabbit.
Yeah, because of the rabbit. A really small rabbit.
At least I know where to find my rabbit now.
Yeah.
Yes. And when you put that on your mirror, if you were to do that, it's gonna it's gonna deduct from your home.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes,
you don't want to
it
do
is.
that.
And then not only that, but you're dealing with the type of material of the frame.
Yes.
So not only do you have this great, quarter-inch gap that water can get into, but you have a type of frame that is incredibly susceptible to warping and everything else because it's not made to be around water.
And the MDF is by far the worst, which a lot of frames are made out of these days.
Those
and basically,
darn MDFs.
I'm telling you, it's ground up sawdust with resin, and so when it gets wet, it just has a tendency to corrode, to bloat, to swell up. It's not a good thing for a bathroom, I wouldn't say at all.
And I know a lot of people use it for molding and things like that. It looks great for a while, but
once water and heat and moisture hits
introduced to it, it is not.
Right.
Definitely not. We're up against another break. Before we do so, how can we reach you if you don't mind?
MiracleFrames.com, and again, that's the word mirror, CLE, frames, plural.com. Also, you can call us 281-586-7785.
Say that number one more time.
281-586-7785.
John, I may be putting you on the spot, but as an awesome sponsor of the show, do you have any, Rat Pack promos?
Well, we can't do this all
listeners?
day. We can't do this all day. But for our Rat Pack listeners, we are kind of doing a sneak peek to our May promo, which is $59 off when you buy 2 or more frames. And so it's a sneak peek, into next month. But say
Just
you
the
heard
Rat
of
Pack
us.
listeners.
Yeah,
So the Rat Pack listeners, call today.
Mention the Rat Pack promo.
And guests.
Yes,
by the
and
way.
guests.
Yes, and guests.
Sure.
We are coming against a break right now. We do have a caller. Stay tuned, caller. We'll pick you up when we come right back from this break. Stay tuned.
An irrepressible smile such as yours warms an old implacable heart such as mine.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Radio Show with Chris, Joe, and Rob. The crew is taking your calls, so dial in at 1-800-808-5548.
And we are back. Time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it?
It does.
We have a caller right now. We actually have John, who has called in to ask a question about selling his home. John, how you doing?
Good. I'm just calling about staging today because I've got a realtor kind of wearing me out on cleaning out my house, and she wants to come in and be able to
Good for that
come
realtor.
in and just, kind of remodel my house before I even sell it. And I'm not real sure I want her to go through all of that and then get rid of all my stuff. Where do I put it? I just don't know what to do.
Well, Lois, you want to kind of field that question?
Well, it's very important that you clean everything out possible because you want the buyer to walk in and feel like they can actually take ownership. If they walk in, they can get overwhelmed with all of your stuff if they have to climb over it. So whenever we stage a home, not only is it about how the pictures will look, but it's also about the second impression. I say there's always 2 chances to make a first impression. The first time is on the internet. The second time is whenever they actually walk in. So when you stage a home, you want to be able to allow the buyer to walk through and create a flow so that they can walk from room to room easily without tripping and getting hurt and
Plus,
overwhelmed.
you don't want them looking at the house, not your stuff.
Exactly.
And we had one of our great guests on, which was the pods people. It was a great temporary way to take things that you need to declutter your house, put it in a pod. They'll come pick it up from your house. They'll deliver it to your house, pick it up, and then redeliver it to your new location.
Exactly. And just remember, I mean, the realtor is looking out for your best interests. You're a team. So you've hired that realtor to do a job for you, and so cooperate. She's doing it to get you the most that she possibly can. At the end of the day, it's about your bottom line.
But if we're in such a hot market, why would, going through all of this help me so much?
It'll maximize your return.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Plus, it's a good time to start cleaning everything out. You're going to be moving anyway, so go ahead and start packing that stuff up and putting it in storage and, get ready to move on to the next place.
Yeah,
I think no matter what the market is, fast, slow, or otherwise, positioning your home to be the most appealing possible is a good thing in any market. It doesn't matter if it's a slow market.
Wouldn't it be better if it was completely empty and I had nothing
Absolutely
in it, and then
not.
they come use all their imagination to come in and do it?
Well, you heard the comments earlier. Most buyers and sellers are kind of linear thinkers. They see what they see. They need to be able to picture furniture in the place, and if you have it empty, it's very hard for them.
Now, I do tell people, though, if you have a home that's been tenant occupied, sometimes it's good to go ahead and let the tenant move out, because the tenant doesn't care whether the house sells or not. And so, they may not take care of it, and they may have their furniture all over the place. So that may be a different situation. But for you, it's good to have that couch in the room. Now, if the couch has been worn out by your dog, then maybe it's a good idea to go ahead and get rid of the couch. But just in different circumstances, I guess it would be different. But for the most part, it is good to have some furniture in the house.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Does that answer your question?
No, that's pretty good stuff. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Well,
Great call. Great
call right there. It's a good questions, actually.
Yes, and we were talking today about staging, but I want to kind of distinguish with this today is Jessica Brown with JBI LLC, and she is a degreed designer. And so, Jessica, welcome.
Interior architect.
Good morning.
Interior.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me today.
Absolutely. So
happy Easter weekend to everybody.
Likewise.
Thank you so much for that. So kind of tell us what, the people are very familiar with staging. What you do is well beyond staging. Kind of explain what you do.
Okay. I am an interior architect, so my degree encompasses both architecture and design. We go from the blueprints, learning how to do all of the space planning and layouts, electrical plans, the whole gamut, to the actual interior design and decoration, with a lighting emphasis as well. I focus on the lighting design. You can change a space dramatically with light. And it goes all the way to the fine furnishings, the lighting, the selections, the soft finishes, the sofas, the rugs. So it takes you, when you go to many builders or companies that say we have everything in-house, we have an architect, we have a designer, I'm kind of that in-house all-in-one.
And that's really good. And that goes for both people who are looking at remodeling their home. I mean, individuals want to bring you in to say,
Absolutely.
what, we're really going to be remodeling or redoing something here. Or individuals who are buying a brand new home and want to have you come in and give them assistance. You handle both sides of things, correct?
Absolutely. So, and remodeling is my heart and passion. I absolutely love going in and helping clients have a vision and bring that vision to fruition and really make the home reflect the person that's living there, without it being unattractive, obviously, for a future sale. But I do all aspects of that, doing remodeling or doing the new home build. So, well,
that night that I saw you at the event, and we got into a discussion about return on investments and things like that. And there are some things that actually give you more than 100% return on your money invested, which we're talking about maximizing your house in this market. And talk about some of those things that give you the best bang for your buck.
So basically, there's a couple things, and this comes up over and over again: kitchen and baths, kitchen and baths, kitchen and baths. You can't say it enough times. I mean, come on, say it one more time.
Say it one more
time.
Kitchen
and baths. So typically, kind of a rule of thumb, you don't always have to stick to numbers, but 12 to 15% of your house value on a bathroom is a great opportunity to get a nice looking return. Doing updates and making that space look nice. And on the kitchen, they say about 25%. And that's a pretty good number to stick with. Earlier, Rob, you had mentioned mental deductions. And that's when the potential buyers are coming in and they're looking at this kitchen that's totally outdated and thinking in their heads, oh my gosh, it's going to be $40,000 to $50,000 easily just to make it look presentable. And we're not talking about cabinetry or gut out, because a kitchen can easily go up much more. But that's automatic their mental deduction. We'll take 40, 50 grand right off right there. As a seller, you can go in and do some of these changeovers and architecturally change the space without having it into cabinetry. But you can do some things with your appliances, your sinks, your faucetry, all of those things. Put in $18,000 to $20,000, and you just saved that buyer $40,000 to $50,000. So you are going to see a return that way. You will.
And in a hot market, I would think, position your house to get the highest value, knowing that you're going to sell quickly is probably a very positive thing to do. And if you're going to get back a return off that investment, it makes perfect sense to go ahead
Absolutely.
and
So this is
incorporate that.
Yeah, and it's taking it a little bit further beyond the staging. I mean, pretty is nice, but this is going a little beyond the soft. This is going into the hard. And getting the hard elements in the home to be appealing for that buyer.
Of course, the danger here is if you're a listing agent, and Lois is going to touch to that, you'll get the house so beautiful they go, we really don't need to move.
Okay, but you know what? That's the other side of it, because there have been clients who've come to me and been like, we need to do this to sell, and they fall back in love with their house.
Right?
They re-fall in love, or however you want to say, with their home again. Like, why are we leaving this?
Just out of curiosity.
Go ahead.
If you were selling a home in a neighborhood that the home was a little more dated, they don't have the granite countertops and some of those kind of things. As our caller said, hey, it's a hot market. I know I could put the house on the market and I could sell it, right? And if I listened to my realtor and I cleaned the clutter and I did the basics of landscaping and all this sort of thing, I'm like, hey, I'm going to get the max return for the house I've spent on it. Would you ever recommend, and this I guess maybe a question for both of you, in that setting, would you recommend, say, hey, it's worth it? I know you can sell the house. It's worth it to update the counters and to spend a little money on granite countertops and to do a little bit of the bathroom remodel because your value that you can get increase is going to exceed what you would spend in that upgrade. Would that ever be a recommendation?
Well, Lois, I don't know if you agree with me, but after we heard her say earlier, I totally just blacked out my mind. We didn't hear anything.
My answer to all those kind of questions is it depends. Where are you? What kind of changes you're doing? How much you're spending on that upgrade? It depends. And I mean, if you went out and got all Viking equipment for your kitchen and things like that, you're not going to get a 25% return on that.
If you're putting Viking, if you're doing Lake Honoro, if you're doing 5-star, none of those appliances are going to fall in your $18,000 to $20,000 budget that you're trying to see a return. But what I was going to say, hang on one second.
Beautiful.
Wow.
That's great.
Shush!
She even pointed the finger at you, too.
I did.
It was awesome.
My finger was right in his face.
And a fifth grade flashback all of a sudden.
What I remembered, what Lois had said earlier, was that how she said that middle market and let the buyers drive that bid up. You are going to get that bidding war when you have that appeal in there. Put those granite countertops in, and maybe, I hope you agree, you're going to see that bidding war. That's what you're going for.
Because they don't want to do that. I mean,
they'll drive the price up.
The buyers don't really want to have to do more work when they're coming in. They'd like to have it already in place to their taste, of course.
And I guess kind of where I was getting at, I'm thinking in my own head. Okay, so we have old countertops.
I know, because you're ready for us.
Yeah. Yes, I know. My wife has already taken down your
number.
This is the show that you get sold.
This is the show you're sold. Between Lois and Jessica, it's a done deal.
And so I'm going. We have the older countertops, but we've we've remodeled the floors and we've had a bunch of stuff done in the house, so it's got decent appeal. But I'm going. Okay, I could spend a couple $2,000-3,000 on the kitchen countertops and all that sort of thing. Would be worth it? Is it worth the effort? If I knew I was putting the house for sale, is it worth doing that kind of stuff? Would I see a return on the investment over the long haul? Typically, I know I wouldn't put you on the spot and say
no, but the first thing I would ask them is, what is your budget? We start from there, because if their budget is only $2,000 or $3,000 and they still have the old brass ceiling fans from the 1970s,
I like my brass fan.
Let's start with the fixtures and those items, and then we'll get to the kitchen. But if their budget is say $5,000 or so, and I already know that they're going to get a huge return on that, then I say, yes, let's go ahead and put in the granite. Let's put some lipstick on the pig, and let's get that handled.
So my house is now a pig.
A pig, yeah.
Yeah.
But you can make it a skirted pig
A
with
skirted
lipstick.
You can even
I
put,
love
a little
that.
tutu on it. You can put some nice little shoes.
I love that.
Some lipstick. You could even put a tiara.
Nice.
There's a whole bunch of stuff you can do to it.
But it does
So-
make your house sell.
It doesn't make your house
It will
sell.
get people in a war because I want that house because that stuff is already done.
It's done.
It's-
And that house that you looked at prior to,
I'm
it's
gonna have
not.
to do it.
We know we are coming up against a break again
Let's just
right
don't do a
now.
break this time.
Exactly right. So Jessica, let
Who
us know
needs
how we can reach
sponsors?
you if you don't mind.
Okay, absolutely. You can go to www.jbiaonline.com, like Jessica Brown, Interior Architect. You can also reach me on the telephone, 832-305-7305.
Say that number one more time.
832-305-7305.
Well, we're coming up against a break right now. When we come back, I'm going to go over some things that I have discovered, basically, and it's on the internet. Internet makes us all experts on stuff, doesn't it? But, one of the things it does...
But you can't get the experience.
You can't get the experience, right? But one of the things we're going to go over also is some of the changes and the upgrades associated with, upgrades to live in the home that you can actually make improvements on that maintain its value, and upgrades that actually enhance value if you're looking to sell it in the future. We'll go over some of those changes, but stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Cinders and a mouse, a hole and a trap. I don't worry about the flights or count the stairs, 'cause I know someone's there. I take the high.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Rat Pack Radio Show with Chris, Joe, and Rob. The crew is taking your calls, so dial in at 1-800-808-5548.
And we are back. Between
Oh,
the
the
break, we
silliness
still need to do that.
abounds.
The silliness between the break is absolutely incredible. So, we're having a great show. We're talking a lot about enhancements and improvements associated with maximizing the value in your home. One of the things I want to talk about, and this is great for both of the ladies in the house right here, is there was an interesting article that came out, and it was a couple years ago, and basically what it was talking about is improvements that you can make to your home when you're planning on staying there that maintain value over a period of time. And that's a big difference versus improvements you want to make right now to sell your home to maximize or to increase its value, right? So one of the things it was talking about is if you lived in your home 10 years or more and you want to make improvements, these are the top improvements you can make to your home, okay, that offer the largest ROI, which is the return on investment. Number one, siding. Okay, a lot of homes out there who have older siding, and Ashley Bowles, one of our great inspectors here in the house, by the way,
Our sponsor,
shaking
yes.
and is shaking his head. He's like, absolutely, that's
think-
definitely one.
I think it's like 93%. Right?
That is correct. It's a very high amount on your siding. Number two, by the way, was an entry door. A lot of times
Yeah.
your entry doors are
Great
another
addition.
one.
I read this article.
Yeah, you read this article also, right? So it was bathroom
I
and
cheated.
bedroom remodeling, by the way. Kitchen remodeling. It was minor kitchen remodeling, including appliance upgrades. Okay. Garage door replacement.
Yeah.
Apparently that is another very big one
Well,
right there.
everything you described are really big items.
Yes.
Because when you go to a house, the first thing you see is usually a garage door. It's 16 by 8
Right.
or 16 by 7. Then
Right.
carpets, big area. Everything you're talking about are big, impactful things. So
And a couple other ones over there, but one of the other ones is vinyl replacement of your windows, replacing your windows out to some of the
gosh.
things that are going on today.
I need new
So,
windows.
and the reason why I was bringing that up is because a lot of times if you're planning on staying in your home for a long period of time, we have a lot of individuals out there and they're 10 years into the home, and then they've gone out there and said, I can't buy a new home for what it's going to cost me to sell and buy a new one. I'm just going to make improvements to what I've got today. These are some of those improvements that they can make that maintain and enhance the value over a long period of time. So in other words, you're not going to make it and all of a sudden lose that value on that property. I mean, what are some of your thoughts on that? I'll ask one of the ladies and even have Ashley probably chime in on something like this.
I think absolutely. If you're looking into the long term, and this is where I'm going to make my shameless plug.
Have at it.
Design for your lifestyle. These are all things that are absolutely going to have a better investment and a longer return on them. And it gives you an opportunity, again, to create your house into a home. So these are opportunities when you're talking about the master bathroom, the master bedroom. You can have the opportunity to not only build the value in your home that you will see stretch out with you, but it's also going to allow you a chance to really make this home be yours. And that's where you can really have a lot more fun versus when you're doing the quick fixes and what can we get in and get out to put it on the market. This is something you can make more of the experience and you can enjoy and fall more in love with your home as well.
I think flooring is another huge thing.
Right.
You know, if you've been on that carpet for 10 years, you know, they always have those mattress commercials where if you've been on it 8 years, imagine your carpet.
Yes.
Get rid of it. Put in some wood floors. I mean, they sell so well. They make a room warm. And you can do, if you're on a budget, you could do one room at a time. You know, of course, you do have the danger of something maybe going out of stock or something like that. But I think wood floors are really, or tile. You know, that, again, you have to be careful with tile too, though.
Right.
That was one of our big upgrades we did the past year when the upstairs toilet tank decided it no longer wanted to do that whole tank thing. And holding water thing was overrated. And we put in wood floors. Love wood floors. I never estimated how much hair a dog and a cat could produce.
And it gets embedded in that carpet.
Absolutely amazing. Oh, I sweep up an entire cat every couple days.
Well, you know,
it used to stay in your carpet, though.
Yes, exactly. But I do love them.
And we were talking about all those upgrades. You know, the one person we had sitting in the corner just shaking his head was Ashley Bowles. He was like, "Oh yeah, absolutely." Ashley, what were some of your thoughts on that?
Well, my first thought is I just replaced my garage door. I just remodeled my master bathroom. I'm replacing all the carpet in my house. I'm getting to replace and upgrade all my windows because in my mind, a house is something that you need to do upgrades to your house to live in it. You need to do maintenance. And the more you do now, the easier it is later because you've actually taken care of it. It's kind of like your car. Everyone knows you're going to replace the brakes. You're going to replace tires. Well, your house is the same thing. Eventually, you need to do the roof. If you have wood siding or siding on the house, eventually it's going to get worn out because it's exposed to the elements. And the thing about your siding is, in the outside of your house, it's usually the first thing people see.
Right.
And that's why your front door is a great investment. Huge. When people pull up to your house, the first impression is when they pull up to the curb. So the more appealing your house is,
I need a new front door.
The front, from the outside.
This is why I knew the show was going to be painful.
Yeah,
y'all are doing this, and my wife is going. Yes, he's going to put in a front door this weekend. I can hear.
But
now.
It just makes sense.
Thanks,
because
Ashley.
if you walk up to the house and you see rotten siding, or even if you just see someone's paid someone to come in and paint, and they haven't actually feathered the edges of the paint, and you can still see that it's peeling underneath. It just throws people off. It gives them a bad taste in their mouth, and they already don't like the house before they even get inside.
That's that little difference between hiring the professional.
And this is coming from an individual who is one of the top-notch home inspectors here in Houston. Not only is he a great individual and a sponsor of the show, but also just an individual that I highly recommend who knows his stuff in regards to inspections.
Jessica over there percolating.
She almost took the mic.
She
didn't
shush me, though.
Straight out
she
of your
didn't shush me this time.
That was awesome.
I almost pushed him out of the way.
I know.
Well, I just wanted to say to Joe and to all the listeners that
here it comes.
Your home should inspire you.
Yeah.
Excuse me. You live in it every day. So, and for the listeners as well, like this is something that I try to always express to my clients is do this for you, whether you're going to sell the house or not. When you do sell the house, it's going to be easier because it's already done. But enjoy the home that you live in every day.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny that she says that because just like you mentioned earlier, I have people whenever they get their house ready to sell, so many of them say, why didn't I just do that a few years ago so I could enjoy it? Now I've done it so the next person can enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, I Ashley hit a point. My house was built in '91, so it's starting to get up there. That seems like not so long ago, but you're 100% right in that the house is an ongoing project every day of the year. It's not like you buy it, okay, I'm done, and you sit back and do nothing to the house. It's just no different than a car. If you don't take care of it and continually work on it and that type of thing, then when you do position it to sell or you want to sell and the realtor comes through and they say, okay, well, these are your pain points, and they go down this long laundry list of things, you're like, holy cow, I got to spend $20,000. just to get back to even.
The other point Joe is making, and I'll help him, bring his thought process to full circle, is get your mirrors framed today. I mean, that's the point, because you really
we had the whole family out
Call
in the
to
yard.
Yeah, so I mean, you want to enjoy them before somebody else gets to enjoy them.
We had the whole
in
family
fact,
out in
if
the
you go
yard
back to your
doing a
little
big
list there, Chris, I believe that was on that top 10.
I think it was like number 3.
Right.
I think it was number 3.
Well, I had a question of Jessica. Is that we were talking about putting in new windows, which is a fairly large undertaking. Is that something you would do in the scope of your advice to people, is to replace windows? And
is it something that I have done? Yes. I'm not me.
Well, not
get
you
a
personally. I'm talking about
you personally out there with a hammer.
Although I can see
Do I look like I'm going to be out there with a hammer?
No,
but I can see you
But I've
bossing
seen
somebody
you-
around to make sure they got it done right.
But I have
Darn
seen you
right.
manhandle Chris, so I'm starting to change my mind. So
Listen, windows as well. I mean, architecturally, make the house sound. Make the house sound, and it's that mental deduction again. Make sure that mental deduction is where it should be at. And sorry, I'm putting the headphones on.
we have a call coming in.
Yes, we do have a call coming in. It's actually Mary, and she wants to ask Miss Brown a question. Mary, how you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great. I'm enjoying your show. Thank you very much for having me on.
Yeah, well, we're glad to have you on, Mary.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment regarding some of the remarks Jessica Brown has made, because she's actually done work for me. And her emphasis seems to be, that focal point. We had a focal point that was very unattractive, and with a simple change in color or design, she was able to make us want to sit in the room and stay in the house instead of move out of the room or sell the house. So there
Don't tell Lois that.
The realtor on the show.
Yeah, she's shaking her head. No. But I, just so that your heart is in the right spot. If you're going to sell the house because you want to sell the house, be going to someplace and not running from someplace. But when it comes to even staging, when the person walks in the door, Jessica made it available that people walk in my house now and they're like, wow, I love your house. And it was really on color. She was able to coordinate the colors and work with some really ugly woodwork and make the whole thing flow and be warm. And even for a prospective buyer, I would think that would be the result you want when you walk in the door.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So thank you for taking my call.
Mary, thank you so much for calling in and sharing your thoughts. We love to have experts on the show. We have a good time. We goof off. If you've seen our post on Facebook today, you know that. But a theme of the show is that we always bring on the best of the best in any industry that we're working with. And calls like that from Mary remind us that we have awesome expert guests on the show.
Mary hadn't left her home for 12 months now.
She's still there listening to the show.
Anyway, we're coming up against the
We
end of
are
the show.
coming up against the end of the show.
round.
Let's do the lightning round really fast. Let the individuals know in probably 20 seconds or less what you want them to leave the show with.
I want them to leave knowing that you should make your house a home. You live in it every day. Make the lifestyle reflect you. And when anybody enters your home, whether it be a buyer or only a guest, they know that it's your space and it's you.
I just want them to know that they need to make sure they get a realtor whose goal is to get them the most with the least amount of stress. So listen to what your realtor says. Make sure their pictures look amazing. Make sure the toilet seat's down in the pictures. And just go to www.remaxperformanceteam.com.
How about yourself, John?
I always tell our customers, research whoever you're inviting in to do work in your home, and that goes for us, and that's why we're so particular on our reviews, online reviews, and so thanks for having us on the show.
Well, as always, it's always a really great show. Great individuals we have on today. We always like to leave the show with a little saying, and today is no different, especially it goes right in line with what we're looking at right here, which is life isn't about getting and having. It's about giving and being. I think that's very good and apropos for what we're doing today. Until next time, stay tuned. We'll see you next week.
And you've been listening to the Real Estate Rat Pack. The question is, who's Frank, who's Sammy, who's Dean, and who's the other guy?
Chris is Frank,
I'm
he's
Dean.
Dean, and I'm Sammy.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So tune in to the really big show every Saturday at 9 a.m. right here on 100.7 The Word, KKHT.